Hey Cotton Balls, I'm Nitrel, and welcome to Nitrel Podfic. Today we will be reading Chapter 5 of The Ghosts of the Gotham Opera House by J_J19, Uncontrollably Alt on AO3. Let's get into it. Chapter 5, Peter. The shower is absolutely glorious. Peter's pretty sure that he could spend 10 years in there and still not want to get out. When he'd first gotten in, he had to try really hard not to notice how pink the water had been. He doesn't remember bleeding that much during the whole thing, but it really had been a whirlwind, and he doesn't even clearly remember how much time had passed between the first spell and the Statue of Liberty. There's a plethora of shower products available in the bathroom. Peter hadn't cared too much about what they were supposed to do, but he had carefully smelled each one and picked the shampoo, conditioner, and body wash that had been the easiest on his senses. Further away in the manor, he could hear Jason and Alfred talking, and figured that was probably the sign that he should get out, so he turns the water off and steps out onto the heated tile floor and grabs the biggest, fluffiest towel he had ever seen in his life. He's gotten more used to luxury during his time with Tony, but Tony's penthouse had always been super modern, and everything appeared almost sharper. Sure, it had been super convenient to have an entire house run by Friday, but only the sitting room and the bedroom that had been designated for Peter had really felt lived in. This house clearly had a history to it, something that Tony would have called old money, like he was an old money himself. Peter peeks his head out of the bathroom and into the overly large guest bedroom he'd been permitted to use. There's some clothes sitting on a dresser that must be the ones that Jason had left for him. He wraps a towel around his waist and hurries out to grab them before returning to the bathroom to set them on the counter. As he does so, he catches sight of himself in the mirror and pauses to catalogue the injuries that are left. Now that he's clean, the yellowing bruises look a little gross. Peter pokes around his ribs and finds that the one he's pretty sure had been broken seems to be mending okay. The cut on his face is nearly all healed up, and he figures that if he eats the good meal Jason had promised him today, that it should be gone by tomorrow, which was perfect for him. He wanted to be able to travel around the city without getting any weird looks or having any well-meaning adults ask him if he needed help. The clothes that Jason had left for him seemed pretty normal. A pair of jeans and a belt, along with a white t-shirt with a bright logo on the front. Peter doesn't recognize the name, but wonders if it might be a band or something. There's a hoodie as well, one that will definitely be a bit large on him. It's blue and red and has a stylized S on the front. He pulls the clothes on quickly and then uses the towel to dry his hair as well as he can. After that, he grabs his headphones off the counter and pops them back into his ears. "Karen?" he asks, checking in the drawers until he finds a bunch of toothbrushes still in their packages, along with several different types of toothpaste. "Hello, Peter," she answers. "Can I help you?" "Tomorrow, I need to start getting stuff together. Can you try and find me somewhere that I can make my web fluid? Maybe a school like Midtown or something that I can get in and out of easily and won't have too much security." He picks out a toothpaste that doesn't say anything about mint on the box and starts to brush his teeth. "I need to figure out somewhere to get cleaning supplies too. Oh, and maybe find out the bulk trash day. I'm gonna need to build some things if I want to get comfortable at the opera house." "I will look into that for you," she says. Peter spits into the sink and then rinses his mouth out with the water. "You're the best." He rinses off the toothbrush thoroughly and then puts it back into its package so he can carry it in the front pocket of his borrowed hoodie. He feels a little guilty as he pockets the toothpaste as well, but the non-mint toothpaste is annoyingly hard to find and a little pricier if he doesn't want to use the kid stuff. He grabs his shoes and his dirty clothes off the floor and heads back out of the room to try and find his way at least back to where they'd come in. He freezes as his foot lands on the first stair and his eyes widen. "Oh my God, my suit," he whispers. His suit was in his bag. Jason took his bag to give to Alfred to wash everything. Alfred was going to see his spider suit. Peter rushes down the stairs, jumping when he nears the bottom, and his socks skid across the hardwood floors for a second. He spins around a bit, trying to listen for where the butler could be, but before he can pick up any directions, Alfred appears. "Feeling better after your shower, Master Peter?" he asks. Peter wrinkles his nose at the title in front of his name. Yeah, great, perfect, so good," he stammers. "Wonderful. Lunch is ready in the dining room. Master Jason will be joining you momentarily, but do feel free to start eating. Shall I take those clothes as well?" Alfred asks. Peter rocks on his heels, trying to think of what he can say to get his belongings back before anything gets found. Oh, that's awfully nice of you. But, I mean, it's really okay. I can wash my own clothes, you know? Why don't I just take the bag back, and I can put these in there too? Peter tries. Alfred raises an eyebrow, a knowing look in his eyes, and Peter knows it's already too late. I assure you, Master Peter, it is no trouble at all. In a family as big as this one, there's nothing I haven't seen. Now, may I take the remainder of your clothes? Thank you. Peter hands over the clothes. Despite popular belief, he does know how to choose his battles and stand down when he's outmatched. It's my pleasure. You will find the dining room just through that doorway there. I shall return momentarily. Alfred turns then and heads off. Peter rocks on his heels and takes a deep breath. He's only been in this world for less than 24 hours and he's already made mistakes. He listens for Alfred's retreating footsteps, then goes through the door the butler had indicated and finds a fancy-looking formal dining room and a table covered with a spread of food. Peter's mouth is already watering as he takes a seat at the table. He should feel a little bad about it, but with his injuries, his healing factor had already burned through the breakfast burritos they'd had for breakfast, and he needed to be at 100% if he wanted to get properly settled into this world. He waits a few minutes, hoping Jason will join him or Alfred will come back. But when he hears neither of their heartbeats moving, decides that he should start on his own as he'd been told to. He stands up to reach the food better as he loads a bit of everything on his plate, then sits down with his legs crossed on the chair and starts to eat. The food is great. Amazing, really. And there's so much for just the 3 people currently in the house that he doesn't feel bad about eating his fill. He's loading up his plate for the second time when Jason appears in the doorway. Peter startles a little, realizing that he had been so focused he hadn't heard Jason coming. He slides his headphones off and lets them hang around his neck as he takes in the other man. Jason looks worn out. There's an exhaustion in his eyes that Peter feels like he resonates with. Enjoying the food? Jason asks as he drops into a chair across from Peter. Yeah, it's great, Peter says cheerfully. He watches closely as Jason picks some food out for himself, though his movements seem a little stifled. Is something wrong? He asks. Jason pauses for a second. Nothing, Jason says. He takes a large bite of food before Peter can ask him any more questions. Peter frowns a bit and considers pushing for more, but they really aren't that close yet, and he isn't sure if it's his place to push about this. They're basically strangers, and while they haven't talked about it today, Jason did seem pretty adamant about getting rid of Peter the night before. Will it be different now that he knows Jason's identity? Now that Peter has seen the kind of place he came from? Master Jason, I do hope that you haven't lost all of the table manners I taught you, Alfred says as he sets a tray with the tea set down on the table. He's so startled by the butler's sudden appearance that he nearly knocks over his glass of water. He can't believe that even with his headphones off, he still didn't hear him coming. He really wishes that his spider sense would get itself together. Sorry, Elfie, Jason says sheepishly. Alfred just hums as he pours some tea into a glass and adds a bit of cream and a few sugar cubes. Peter watches him, interested. He's never actually seen someone with a proper tea set before. Aunt May had only drank tea when she was feeling really stressed, and then she'd usually just used one of their chipped mugs and the electric kettle. Peter sniffs the air a bit, and the tea smells nothing like a herbal kind that May had liked. Alfred sets the teacup and a saucer beside Jason's plate. Tea, Master Peter? Alfred asks. Oh, sure? Peter says. How do you take it? He asks. Peter considers his answer. I'm not sure, he admits. He doesn't want to make a choice and accidentally insult them if he doesn't like the outcome. Alfred rounds the table with a tray. He pours some tea into a cup and then sets it in front of Peter. Finding how you prefer your tea can be a bit of trial and error, Alfred says as he places a small pitcher and a little bowl of sugar cubes on the table. Do feel free to experiment a bit. He picks up the tray again and makes his way out of the room. Take a sip before you start adding things in, Jason says. Peter looks over at him. Huh? The first time Alfred made me tea, I added in, all the sugar cubes. I really got sweets when I was growing up. There was so much sugar I couldn't even drink it. Jason takes a bite of his sandwich, and for a second, he looks like he's going to say something else, but glances quickly at the door the butler disappeared through, and seems to think better of speaking with food in his mouth. Peter picks up the teacup carefully with both hands and blows on it a bit before taking a sip. What happens after this? He asks as he considers the cream and sugar. Huh? Jason asks. Well, last night you said you were going to make me go to the shelter today, Peter adds just a bit of cream and then takes another sip of the tea. Right, yeah. Jason frowns at him. Peter adds a sugar cube. But it's a big place. I think we'd both be okay there, you know? You need somewhere safe to stay, Jason says. It is safe, especially with both of us there. It's important to have someone that watches your back. I work better alone. There's a frown on Jason's face as he says it. Okay, well, we can both do our work alone and still live together. Pete, Jason starts. Jason, Peter fires back, lowering his voice a bit as he says, You said that I would only be okay if I didn't make a scene, but who's going to keep me from accidentally making a scene with my powers if I'm on my own? What if that Batman guy comes after me for being a meta? Jason freezes at Peter's words. He clenches his fists and takes a deep breath. There's almost a green glow to his eyes. Batman is not going to touch you. Jason's voice is a growl. Peter's spider sense is going off, telling him that Jason is dangerous, that he's going to snap. Peter stays perfectly still. Let's stick together, Peter says, keeping his voice steady. He takes deep, exaggerated breaths. Jason's eyes are locked on him. You don't like Batman. You have some sort of personal problems. That bastard. Jason cuts himself off. He holds his gaze on Peter's chest, watching each breath. Peter doesn't know if he's doing it on purpose or not, but Jason starts copying him, matching his breathing to Peter's. You don't trust him, Peter says softly. You've been nice to me since we met. You trusted me with your secret and brought me here to eat. I think I can trust you. So if you don't trust this Batman, then I won't either. I'll stay away from him. He uses people, Jason growls. Peter nods his head. Okay, then I'll stay off his radar. But that means I have to stay out of the shelters too, because everything is different in this place, and I don't know how to handle myself here yet. If he doesn't like metas and I make a mistake in a shelter, then I'm going to draw his attention. So I'll stay on the streets till I can get myself an identity and get my own place. You can't stay on the streets, you're just a kid. Jason inhales deeply and then lets it out slowly. The green has faded from his eyes a bit, and Peter's spider sense has calmed down. There's no immediate threat anymore. So are you, Peter points out. Jason scoffs and flicks something on his plate at Peter. Peter ducks out of the way of it. I haven't been a kid in a long time, Jason says. The exhaustion is back in his voice, but Peter thinks he gets it. Us zombies have to stick together, Peter tells him. We're not fucking zombies, Jason says with an eye roll. But it's fond enough that Peter knows he's won. Ghosts, then, he decides. Hey, Cotton Balls, that's the end of Chapter 5. Have a good day, and thank you for listening. See you again in Chapter 6.